Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Let Me Tell You Why podcast. Jeremy Jacobowitz. I'm your host, Jeremy Jacobowitz, and today we are talking about the New York Knicks. We're talking about the NBA Finals. Specifically, we're talking about New York Knicks bandwagon fans, an epidemic sweeping New York City. And we're going to dive all into it. But of course, New York restaurant news. Of course, what I'm into. And of course, just for you guys, the special discount codes. Get all the merch on jeremyjshop.com. But before we get into all of that, just again, a huge thank you. I appreciate you guys watching and listening to this podcast. This is episode 50. We did 50 of these. There's been a lot of iterations of this podcast over the years. I started this podcast a very, very, very long time ago with some big gaps in between there too. But I've been very consistent with it for the past year and a half, 2 years of really trying to get it every other week. And it's all for you guys, so I appreciate that. And if you are watching and listening, make sure you subscribe wherever you're watching and listening to this. Make sure you like it, share it, leave a 5-star review, leave a comment. Do all the things to continue to share the love of the podcast with everybody else, because that is like super, super critical. And I appreciate it. And as a thank you to you for doing that, jeremyjshop.com. All the merch you need. Use code June12 for 12% off. We got Exiled Sounder merch. We got Let Me Tell You Why merch. We got hats. We got sweatshirts. We got tees. We got coffee mugs. Everything you could possibly think of. And if there's something on there that I've not thought about, message me and I'll see if I can just throw it up on the website. Use the fourth wall. They have almost everything. If there's a colorway that you would prefer, let me know and I'll put it on the website for you guys again. Very, 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 very easy. Okay, so first up, let's get into some restaurant news. The 6th is the new restaurant from Michelin-star chef Philippe Arico. I don't know why I pronounce it like that. Arico, opening in Greenwich Village. The menu is a mix of French technique with global influence, where you can order a la carte or indulge in a 5-course discovery tasting menu. Some of the highlights include a red tuna taki, foie gras creme brulee. Jesus, I'm looking at that right now. Croque monsieur, and a roasted chicken. Sandswell, we constantly talk about their specials, has a new summer special, the Balmer Crab Roll Han. It was explained to me in the email what that means. It's some Baltimore thing, I don't fucking know. Which has a cold blue crab salad, warm Maryland crab dip, and Old Bay seasoning, all inside of a house-made bun that then gets caramelized. That sounds unbelievably good. It will be on the menu at least through July 4th, potentially longer. Salt and Straw is launching a new chef series lineup for flavors that will be available until June 25th, so the rest of this month. Chef Dan Barber has a Starling sweet potato buckwheat crumble. Chef Bradley Ishiwata Williams has a cheesecake, said that weird, cheesecake salted yuzu curd. Chef Mei Lin has a Hong Kong milk tea with toasted white chocolate. That one sounds incredible. Chefs Alex Meyer and Luciana Giangrande have a chocolate caramel smoked budino. And finally, Chef Gregory, I can't say these goddamn names. And finally, Chef Gregory Gourdet, Gourdet, Gourdet. I just assumed the T is silent. I don't know. Has a caramelized plantain with spicy pecan toffee. This sweet potato one looks so good. It's like purple. Oh my God. I'm not, like, you know me, I'm not a big sweets person, ice cream person, but a sweet potato miso swirl in the ice cream sounds unbelievably delicious. More words I can't pronounce. Bar Blandu. I've read that 10,000 times previously. Never knew how to say it, so let me know if I'm screwing it up or not. They also have a new Chefs in Residence series that will be going on all summer, each one for 1 weekend only. June already took place, so Chef Devon Francis, but on July 4th and 5th, Chef Jack Coughlin teams up with Chef Matthew Reed, 2 Brits taking over for Independence Day. And on August 1st and 2nd, Chef Ray Lopez comes back to New York City with this mix of Mexican cooking, fine dining background. He's also cooking in London right now. September 12th to 13th has Chef Isabel Garcia. And finally, October 3rd and 4th has chefs from Mon Petit Canard. Lacking details what the menus will be, but I assume as we get closer, they'll announce more of what the food is. Aldoro has teamed up with Grillo's Pickles for a pop-up all month long at all of the Aldoro locations. Bring back the Il Sottacetto sandwich, which has an herb roasted beef, an herb roasted, I wrote that twice, an herb roasted, an, er- an herb roasted roast beef, or would you just say herb roasted beef? I'm going to say herb roasted roast beef, provolone cheese, crispy coleslaw, and a spicy house-made Grillo's hot pickle Russian dressing. Sounds incredible. And finally, an event for you guys. On June 20th from noon to 7 p.m., some of the best restaurants are coming together for an epic block party. On top of live music, entertainment, and giveaways, the restaurants involved, listen to this lineup. This is insane. Jesus, today is not a good day. I went to this restaurant. It took me forever to figure out how to. Rascioli. Dame, Hamburger America, Emmett's, Charlie Bird, 12 Chairs, Croft Alley, Raku, and Pasta Pooks. Pretty good lineup. Seems fun. All day food. Check it out. Okay, so let's talk about what you may have missed, and we'll start with some YouTube things. I forget if we talked about a couple of these videos, but I'm almost positive it didn't. One, I wrapped up my Jeremy's Japan Journey Season 2 on YouTube. Those are 4 long videos, not super long, but longer than a minute and a half on Instagram Reels. The 4 episodes are a prologue, my first night in Tokyo, 3 nights in Sapporo, 3 or 4 nights, whatever it is in Tokyo, and 3 to 4 nights in Kyoto, all different cities, all their own videos, all must-eats. Filmed it a little bit more vloggy this time, so you get to see like my full experience of what I'm doing there, like almost every second what I'm doing while I'm there, which is obviously very much full of food for the most part, but all the activities too, and you get to have like a little more insight of what I'm doing. Worked tremendously hard in these videos. It is my favorite thing of every year is going to Japan, obviously, and creating this content. It takes a little time to get them out because I went in January, but really proud of all those. And as of this week, they're all up because I finished with Kyoto. Kyoto, one of my favorite food cities in the whole world, one of my favorite cities in the whole world overall. And with each city as well, they each got a written guide on Substack. So if you want to see every place I've ever eaten in Tokyo, in Kyoto, we're talking like 30 plus places. I think almost 60 places in Tokyo so far. Those are all on morsels.food. That link will be everywhere. Check that out. Watch the video, get a little taste. And if you want to have everything, these guides are tremendous. People DM me all the time. Where to eat. I've worked very, very hard on these guides. And not only is it where to eat, it's where I've stayed. It's tips and tricks. People love the Google map. I included Google Maps, so you can just like whip open your phone, go to Google, and have a map of every single place I've eaten in these cities. So people love this. So check that on YouTube and morsels.food, of course. I did a little like walking tour video, like a little different type of video. In the sort of like the jumping off point for the video was like I wanted to do a video about Cozy Soup and Burger, and I was like, okay, how could I like make this a bigger video? It's like, oh, what if I kind of include a bunch of places that I ate at when I went to NYU, which I went there from 05 to 09. While I was doing research, I knew it wasn't going to be a giant list that was still around. When I was doing research, I found that there are even less places than I thought were still open, almost none. And as I was putting the video together, Cozy's also announced that they were closing. So the video turned into something a little bit different. We went to Cozy's for one last time. Check that video. I hadn't been in years, unfortunately. It is still tremendous, and it's very sad that they're closing. But I did a little walking tour to places that I missed. Kind of hitting a little nostalgia for people, especially if you're around in the kind of 2000s-ish, 2010s-ish in New York City. We walked different restaurants, different bars. I tell some stories. It's actually just like a really nice day and a different type of video. So I really love for you guys to check that out. That is on the YouTube. And then short form, let's see, what videos did I do? We did a video about Cozy's, that's there. What is your bagel order? If you missed it, Brad Lander was running for Congress in New York City. He was on 2 weeks ago. Chef Jose Andres is on there. Those are long form videos on YouTube as well. So obviously check those out. Jose Andres, like both really a dream guest. But Jose Andres, I mean, just like a true like hero and inspiration. That's all I got for short form. So then transition to 2 other big things is I've talked about these on the podcast before, but sort of my hobby of producing films, a very expensive and very time-consuming hobby. But 2 really big updates on that. I executive produced a wonderful short doc called Cookie Love about a bakery in Paris, or a baker at a cookie shop in Paris that premiered at Tribeca this week, which was incredible. If you guys don't have any understanding of that, that is the biggest, in my mind, the biggest, most important film festival. We could argue about what if they're, Sundance, maybe South by, whatever. But for what we were doing, that was the biggest. And to get in is such an honor. And to have that premiere there as executive producer, such an honor. So cool. As this podcast is coming out, there's one more screening Saturday of short. It's in a short films little block. It's like 2 hours long. Some other incredible films and filmmakers are part of that as well. So you could still see that. And hopefully we're going to do a bunch more festivals, see what happens, maybe release it somewhere. That is down the line, but super proud of that. And then the other big news is Sandwich Line, which we've talked about endlessly here. We did a whole podcast about the behind the scenes of how we made that here. Will finally be launched to the public next week. I need to pick a date, either Sunday night or Monday night. At some point next week on my YouTube channel, you could finally watch my short film, The Sandwich Line, romantic comedy written, directed, and starring Jamie Schwartz, and I executive produced and produced it. That is a years-long effort of labor and love and work and passion, and I'm excited to finally get it out to the world. Basically, the rules of film festivals are that it can't be made public, like online anywhere, if you want to get into a festival. So we kind of have to wait to get through the festival circuit to let everybody see it, and we're finally done. We did almost a year of festivals. We got into endless festivals, which was an incredible honor. And now we get to show it to the world, which I'm really excited about. So stay tuned for YouTube. Maybe I'll talk about that next podcast too, to remind you guys. But two really awesome things happening in, the side project, side hustle. But both things relate to food, frankly. One's about cookies in Paris, and one is a romantic comedy about a sandwich line where you go on a sandwich line and meet men. So, sort of in the realm of what I do, but a little bit different, which is what drew me to these projects, really. All right, so let's get to the main topic this week, and that is Knicks bandwagon fans. Knicks are in the NBA Finals. First time since 1999. This is the big deal. If you guys don't know or don't really understand New York sports culture, most fans in New York of different sports are kind of split. Maybe not 50-50, but split enough. You got Yankees, Mets, you got Giants, Jets, you got Rangers, Islanders, and even though we have the Brooklyn Nets, no one's really a Brooklyn Nets fan. One, they were in Jersey forever. They only moved to Brooklyn maybe a decade ago, a little bit longer than that. But it takes like a full generation to really amass fans like that. So the one team that New Yorkers can agree on is the New York Knicks. And almost no team has given us more heartbreak than the New York Knicks, at least in my lifetime. Because we had the 1994 finals, which we lost, heartbreaker. We had the 99 season, which we lost. And then we've had 30 years of mediocrity, essentially. And this year, they're back in the finals. And New York has gone Knicks crazy. And we're going to talk about the negative aspects in a minute. But I don't want to start negative, because I think this could very much be a negative conversation. I'm going to start with the positive. It is in a world where everyone feels so divided. And New Yorkers are more together than most places, I feel like. But in the world where New Yorkers are so diverse and we feel so divided and we have so many backgrounds and of everything, to see the city come together for the New York Knicks has been incredible. I love it. The energy, especially, it's kind of hitting right when summer's starting too. The weather's been basically nice. The energy has been unbelievable, and it is one of the most special things about New York City is when we come together for things like this. And we love the Knicks, and we are fucking amped for the Knicks, and we're excited by the Knicks, and this is awesome and incredible. I want to bottle this up and keep this on my little shelf forever so I could just open it up and get a little whiff of it if I'm ever feeling down. But with that excitement, with that energy, with that enthusiasm, comes bandwagon fans. A lot of them. And I don't want to rain on anyone's parade. I think if you want to root for the Knicks and you want to feel the excitement in New York, you do it. This is what I'm saying. I'm telling you, this is exciting. This is amazing. But I do think you have to understand why people are a little upset about it and why I don't know if upset, irks them, bothers them a little bit when Why this moment feels so amazing is because, listen, I'll be 39 in a few weeks, so let's round up. I've had 40 years of heartbreak of the New York Knicks. There's been fans that have way more. There's been fans that have had way less, but it has been horrible. And the one amazing thing about Knicks fans is it doesn't matter how bad the Knicks are, they're still going to show up. The Knicks could be 0-81 going into the last game of the season, and MSG will still be sold out. They are some of the best fans in the entire world, and they put up with bullshit forever. Forever. So I think what bothers Knicks fans, myself included, and let me say this too. I'm the first one to admit, I'm not the biggest Knicks fan. I'm not the biggest basketball fan. All sports in general. Listen, I studied sports management. I worked in these locker rooms. I did it. And I've talked about this before, how I've kind of lost after doing that, I lost my fandom a little bit. So when I was younger, much more into Knicks and basketball and frankly all sports. But I've lessened it over time. And things just, time gets in the way too. When I was younger, I could watch all the games. I just don't have time to do it anymore. So I don't want to pretend like I'm cosplaying here as like the greatest Knicks fan of all time. I don't want to construe things or send Knicks messages here or whatever. I want to be very upfront about this. But at the same time, we have been hurt for so long. And it feels so good to finally be winning, have a chance at a championship the first time since the 70s. And I think what bothers us is that you haven't gone through that pain. You are celebrating and cheering as if you have gone through all of it. But you grew up in, I don't fucking know, Arizona, rooting for the Phoenix Suns, and you lived here for 6 years, and you've never seen a Knicks game until 2 weeks ago. And again, I appreciate and I would love everyone to root for the Knicks. But I think to cosplay now as like the big, I know everything, I'm the biggest Knicks fan, like almost pretending like you're a bigger fan than someone else, I think is what really, really kind of irks us. It's like you're celebrating as if you went through this pain with us and you did not. So be happy, cheer, be excited, go to watch parties. But I think try and understand that like you don't understand what this is. And I'm trying to toe this line of like, again, I appreciate it. I love that you're rooting. I think the difference is like rooting and being a fan. I have a conversation with my friend about this. She grew up Miami Heat fan from Miami, lived in New York City long enough. If she wants to be whatever. She goes, I'm a Knicks fan now. I go, no. I said, no. You could root for the Knicks. Are you still a Heat fan? Yeah. You cannot be a Miami Heat fan and a New York Knicks fan. And why? Why is that? Because they're rivals. And maybe they haven't been rivals for in the past couple of years. But if you grew up the way I did, Heat were our biggest rivals. Those playoff games in the late 90s are ingrained in us. Those dudes were fucking out there literally fighting and killing each other to win these games. You can't be a Heat fan and a Knicks fan. So if you want to tell me I still want to be a Heat fan, but I'm in New York, I'm excited, I want to root for the Knicks, that's perfectly fine. But you cannot be a fan of both. And I think it's a little different. It's say you grew up in Portland, Oregon, and you're a Portland Trailblazers fan. And you're like, I've lived in New York 10 years, I'm a Knicks fan now. That's a little bit more acceptable. I still want to say like you were rooting for the team rather than being a fan. I think that's where a lot of this distinction comes from. But it's just like the cosplaying of it, I think is what really bothers. Like there's this girl on TikTok. And I feel like I'm picking on girls a little bit. But I'm picking on everyone, okay? Like I'm recording this tonight after the lost game 3. So like the mantra has been like Knicks in 4. And after winning the first 2 games, Knicks in 4, which is like Knicks are winning the series in 4. This girl I'm scrolling fucking TikTok. This girl does a video like talking about watching the Knicks game. I don't know what the fuck she's talking about. But it said like Knicks in 3. And it's like, no. This sums up what our problem is with these cosplaying Knicks bandwagon fans. It is not Knicks in 3 because it is impossible for it to be Knicks in 3 because you have to win 4 games of the series to win the championship. It could never be Knicks in 3. And I think that's what bothers me too. It's like, if you want to get into it, it's not about dressing up. And listen, I'm dressing up today. You could call me a fake everything as well, I guess. I am wearing my Knicks jersey, and although I've worn Knicks jerseys in the past in this podcast, so fuck you guys. But I think if you want to dress up and you want to have fun and go to these parties, I just want you to try and learn a little bit more, maybe be a little bit more informed. And I think you're actually going to like it more. And I don't want to set you up for disaster now. I hate, I don't want to make you a Knicks fan and then you have to suffer with us. That's bad too, I guess. But I think that you should understand why it upsets people a little bit, Because again, the vibes are high. The vibes are good. I don't want to bring down anyone's vibes. But an understanding of why it hurts fans like us, I think would be a little bit nice. And just a sort of admission of like, I'm just excited for New York and this is great. Wonderful. Don't go further than that. Give it time. Learn. Watch Knicks for a few years. Become a Knicks fan. Suffer with us so you can enjoy the fruits of the labor when we finally win the championship. Maybe it's in a week. Maybe it's this week. Hopefully. But this is what makes sports so good. You know what I mean? Like, I think this is what people miss with it. It's like when they just jump on at the end. What truly feels good is years of wanting it. You know what I mean? It's not that instant reaction. Yeah, New York City, if they win, this place is going to go fucking wild and you're going to love that excitement. But I promise you have no idea what it actually feels like because you haven't suffered with it. And that's the joy of sports right there. And it's funny too, I did a video last year. Knicks won last year. They got to the Eastern Conference Finals. And there were all these viral videos of all these Knicks fans, like literally like jumping off fucking light poles and shit, celebrating going to the Eastern Conference Finals. And I did a video that people did not like. And I was like, guys, you don't celebrate that. That is like second-rate city bullshit. I'm not saying don't celebrate going to Eastern Conference Finals, but wanting to burn down the city because you got to the Eastern Conference Finals, nowhere near really a championship, is absolutely insane. And I was right, because we looked like losers when we lost, okay? And now, you should save it up. Don't blow your load on the Eastern Conference Finals. Save it up for getting to the finals like we have this year, and save it up for when we finally win a championship. That is what feels good. Build. Hold it in you. Relax, and then let it fucking explode. And everyone, bandwagon, non-bandwagon, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You could all celebrate together. And that's what makes sports so special, and that's what makes it so amazing. And that is why, as of recording, we still have a very good chance of winning. And if we do, build a goddamn statue to Jalen Brunson, 1. 2, build a goddamn statue to Danhausen. If you don't know that lore, Danhausen, the wrestler. This is too deep to go into the whole lore. But he uncursed the Knicks, and he put curses on everyone else. And he deserves some credit about this as well. And if we lose the series, do you know whose fault it is? Well, it's Donald Trump. He has a pretty big track record of showing up to fucking teams and destroying their seasons. And he just had to put himself at the Garden last night. Had to make it all about himself. Knicks fans have waited nearly 30 years to get back to the NBA Finals. And we finally get back to them. It's finally at the Garden. And this narcissistic piece of shit asshole decides, I want to go see the Knicks. Oh, we just have to shut down all of Midtown to make that happen. Oh, we just have to have fans get there hours early to make it happen. So we could fucking fall asleep watching the game. You got booed out of the fucking arena. They've asked Obama about this. He said, knowing how difficult to make everyone else's experience, I'm not going to go. And Obama is an actual basketball fan. And listen, I'm sure Trump rooted for the Knicks. I'm sure he's been to a million Knicks games. This idea that like he's a fake Knicks fan is like, it's not a band. The man's from New York. I'm sure he's a Knicks fan enough, whether he focuses on it all season, But does he have I still don't understand what he thought was going to happen. And also, fuck you, James Dolan. Listen, people are like, is this the redemption arc of James Dolan? Knicks are winning? No, James Dolan is a bad man. Unless I'm not going to get too deep into it because everything we do and love in life is probably owned by a bad man. But come on. You didn't have to invite Trump to the fucking game, sit with him all game, on top of everything else. New York Times and The Athletic, go look at that story if you want to have a better understanding of what's happening there. Don't do that. We don't want him. He's done. And if the Knicks lose the series because Trump showed up to game 3, just put on the fucking pile of the horrific things that this man has done, specifically to New York City. New York City has had to deal with this horrible things Trump has done since the 1970s. The last time the Knicks won the championship. Go New York. Go Knicks. I've been trying to find the song. There was even YouTube doesn't have it. I've been Googling and trying to figure this out for years, actually. There was this MSG Networks promo from the 90s with this song, and it kept wanting to use it in a video, and I literally cannot figure out where this exists on the internet, which is crazy for something. But it's good. It was this song. It was like, gotta be the garden, Madison Square Garden, world's most famous arena, Madison Square Garden, gotta be the garden. Sung significantly better than that. I cannot find it anywhere, and I want to use it for something, and I can't use that because that sounded horrible. But if anyone knows where to find it, let's do that. And that's it. Next, let's go, baby. New York City, its energy is amazing. As much as I kind of railed on Trump and bandwagon people a little bit in this episode, I still appreciate you. I still respect you. I still love you being here. Let's go fucking Knicks and go Jalen Brunson and the whole fucking team. Okay. With that, let's talk about what I'm into, which is just one thing this week because I spent most of my week doing it. New video game. 007 First Light, a new entry into the James Bond catalog, I guess. Sort of like a brand new Bond, a brand new game, a brand new whatever. Technically, like, I don't want to call it a movie, but a brand new James Bond story. And I thought it was fantastic. It's not an open world game. It's very linear, but each kind of level, and even kind of levels a little bit because it all really seamlessly plays out like a movie in such a tremendous way. But while it's linear, the levels are open worlds enough where you get like a lot of different paths to complete different missions, whether it's find this dude, kill this person, blah, 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 whatever you're doing. Which made it really, really, really fun. There's lots of secrets, lots of little things. It's a game that, again, is just so immersive, a feeling like Bond and putting you into the Bond world, which is awesome. What I like, too, is that most Bond movies kind of have James Bond established as a person. This game kind of takes it from him being trained and going into it. So you're seeing how James Bond becomes James Bond as the game plays out, which I thought was really, really fun. The difficulty I thought was like perfect too, where it's like there were missions and moments that I had to redo maybe 6 or 7 times. A lot of the gunplay, especially portions, were much more difficult than anything else. But a very fair game, a very balanced game, and a game that I was totally addicted to. And also a game that I kind of finished within a week, which is great. Like, so maybe I sunk, I don't know, 10 plus hours into it or something. I played a few hours a day and like was able to finish the main story pretty quickly. So to me, like that's how you make a game. I don't want a game that's 100 hours long. I don't want a game I'm never going to finish. I want a really fun, immersive game that just lets me get in there and get out and I'm done. There's lots of extra stuff you can keep playing. I know they just detailed sort of like their new mission campaign stuff that's going to be hitting at some point for microtransactions, but just like a really, really great game and I was really into. So check that out, 007 First Sight. I'm not even the biggest James Bond fan, and I thought the game was fantastic, if that tells you anything. But that is all for this week on Let Me Tell You a Podcast. Thank you for watching, listening, subscribe, share, follow, do all those things. I'm off to Pittsburgh for a few days. Maybe we'll talk about that when I get back. Thank you. 50 episodes. You guys are the best. Bye.